Hey everyone, REDyTay here, and welcome to another Pokemon challenge. This time we're bringing some spooky vibes to celebrate Halloween. The Butterfree challenge was fun, especially since we finally got to use a fully evolved Pokemon, but Butterfree's performance was a bit underwhelming, even if it was fully evolved. This challenge might be even tougher, as we're using a Pokemon that hits hard but is extremely weak defensively. Today we are diving into Pokemon FireRed to see if we can beat the game with a single Gastly. As you might expect, Gastly's stats are what will make or break this challenge. Its total base stats sit at 310, which is around starter level. Not ideal. Plus, as you can see, the distribution is, well, pretty lopsided. Most stats are around 30, which is rough. Except for special attack, which sits at 100, and speed, which is decent at 80. The high special attack is great, but there's a catch. Gastly is a ghost type, and in Generation 3, ghost type moves are physical, meaning they rely on its dismal 35 attack stat instead of that impressive special attack. So, unfortunately, our best stat isn't fully utilized. So what moves are we working with? Gastly starts with Hypnosis and Lick, not exactly powerhouse moves. Luckily, some moves we learn later have potential. Nightshade can be handy mid-game, and Shadow Ball is always solid. However, none of these are special moves. Checking the TM list, there aren't many options. But the ones that stand out are special time moves like Giga Drain and Thunderbolt. We might end up using one of those before we're done with this run. Now let's look at the type advantages since we're so fragile. It's not bad, we're only weak to Ghost, Psychic, and Dark, which aren't too common in this game. Even better, we're immune to normal fighting and ground attacks. That immunity will definitely help us, though our resistances may not come into play too often. Alright, enough with this long intro, let's get started. I'll be only using Gastly for this entire run, with other Pokemon allowed strictly for HM use. No cheats, hacks, or glitches will be involved, and I won't use items in battle except for held items given to Gastly beforehand. This should be a fun run. I'm a fan of the Gastly line, though I usually evolve it into Haunter at least. Plus, I think this is my first time tackling the Generation 1 remakes using a Ghost type. Ghost types got a bit of a raw deal in the original games, so I'm hoping this remake will do them some justice. Let's dive in. So we kick off the spooky challenge with the usual start, getting stopped by Professor Oak in the grass and brought back to his lab to choose our starter. I used the Pokemon Randomizer to replace Charmander with Gastly. Looking back, Charizard would have made a solid choice for our rival too, but we dealt with Charizard in our last challenge, and Venusaur is actually weak to us, so we're up against Blastoise. I nicknamed Gastly Gelf. Some of you might catch that reference. Stat-wise, Gelf looks about how we expected. Special attack and speed are in the double digits, while everything else lags. Fortunately, Gelf's ability Levitate grants us immunity to ground attacks, which is definitely a plus. With a bashful nature, our stats are balanced, no increase or decreases, which is okay, though we need buffs across the board. If Gelf had a nature that boosted special attack, I'd consider restarting to keep that advantage. Gelf's moveset starts off with Hypnosis and Lick, like I mentioned earlier, so we have options to put our opponents to sleep or paralyze them. Hypnosis' accuracy isn't great, and Lick is a very weak move, but it's what we have for now. First up, our rival battle. Hypnosis actually lands right away, but I quickly realized that putting Squirtle to sleep was a bit pointless. Squirtle doesn't have any moves that can hit us since it's limited to normal type attacks in the early game. After that realization, we pretty much just spam Lick. It does manage to paralyze Squirtle, and eventually we do take it down. With that win, I think about heading straight into our rivalry match, but then it hits me. Pidgey's par normal, meaning none of our moves will work against it. I'm old school, so I momentarily forgot that in Generation 1, ghost moves like Nightshade could hit normal types. This game actually follows the rules, so we might need to skip this battle for now. Instead, we make our way to Virgin Forest. None of the bug catchers here pose much of a threat, though we're still dealing minimal damage with Lick. It has plenty of power points, but they're finite, and midway through one of our battles we run out. This leads to the long, tedious process of using Hypnosis and Spite's power points until we can finally use Struggle. The recoil damage isn't too bad, which gives me a bit of overconfidence as we attempt to make it through the rest of the forest with just Struggle. Of course, that backfires in the next battle, and we go down after needing just one more Struggle to KO the last Pokemon. We were so close. We heal up and make it through the remaining bug catchers with real attacking moves, finally reaching the point where we need to gauge our odds against Brock. Things aren't going well against Brock. Sorry for the sudden flash of the info menu. clumsy fingers. Anyway, Geodude isn't an issue since it doesn't have any moves that can hit us. Lick doesn't do much outside of the occasional paralysis, but eventually we take Geodude down. Onix, however, is a different story. It doesn't stay asleep for long when we use Hypnosis, and Rock Tomb hits hard, and we can't survive more than 3 of those. Plus, it only takes 1 Rock Tomb to slow us down enough for Onix to outspeed us. So much for our high speed stat. After a few more attempts, I realized there's no way we can win at this level. Time to grind, but at least we have a tangible goal. We only need a couple more levels before Gastly learns Nightshade. I feel pretty confident we can get the win with that move. In our rematch, we start off as usual spamming Lick to wear down Geodude. It takes a bit of time since Geodude buffs its already high defense, but we eventually knock it out and move on to Onix. We're lucky enough to get a paralysis in the first Lick, which is exactly what I was hoping for. After some good luck with paralysis, we finally land our first Nightshade, which takes Onix down to yellow health. For anyone unfamiliar, Nightshade always deals damage equal to the user's level. I didn't expect only 2 Nightshades to take Onix out. I overestimated its HP. But it goes down quickly, and we finally earn our first gym badge. With that, we head towards Mount Moon, but that also brings us to one of our biggest early game hurdles: normal types. The first trainer we see on the way has 2 Pidgeys. Against normal types, I've found that we can win by using Curse, which chips away at the normal type's HP each turn, and following up with Hypnosis to keep them from attacking. They usually go down 4 turns, and we don't take any additional damage. The issue is, if a team has more than 1 normal type, after using Curse and halving our HP, using it again would take us out instantly. We could win these battles using Struggle, but it's tedious to burn through all of our power points for Curse first. To sustain the strategy, we also need to buy tons of potions, meaning we lose a lot of money in the process. Realistically, our best bet is to avoid any trainers with multiple normal types for now. Luckily, most of them are skippable in this part of the game. The issue persists in Mount Moon, however. I didn't capture it, but we ended up losing to a trainer on the first floor with 2 Rattatas. We used Curse on the first one, but for the second, we tried to make it use up all of its power points instead. Unfortunately, we ended up in that situation ourselves. With no options left, we had to use another Curse, which took us down. Losing here stinks, but since we can't skip that trainer, we'll revisit the battle later. All the other trainers without normal types are easy to handle, and we grab the Dome Fossil on the way out. Now it's Cerulean City time, and I feel pretty good about facing Misty. However, I couldn't have been more wrong. Staryu isn't an issue, but Starmie hits hard with Water Pulse. We waste several attempts trying to figure out the best approach. Hypnosis keeps missing, giving Starmie free hits on us. Eventually we manage to put Starmie to sleep and spam Nightshade, taking it to red health. But then Misty heals Starmie to full, and we can't take it out quickly enough. It wakes up and finishes us with another Water Pulse. Nightshade does fix damage, so we can't fully take down Starmie without giving Misty a chance to heal. We're left needing to grind more levels, which means facing our rival. That also means tackling 2 unavoidable normal types, which means we have to rely on Struggle. That means exhausting all of our power points and buying potions so Curse Recoil doesn't make us faint. That's why I stock up on potions. After that, we go to the grass patch west of Cerulean City, where we begin the long and tedious process of using up all of our power points. I know this rival battle would be rough with Struggle as our main move, but it's proving almost impossible. Struggle doesn't hit hard enough, and Recoil keeps chipping away at our health. Plus, we're still vulnerable to enemy attacks with our low defense. We managed to take down most of our rival's team, but this approach isn't sustainable. I don't want to grind against wild Pokemon just to repeat the whole PowerPoint drain and use Struggle again here. I know TMs are scarce early on, but are we sure none of them can be used on Gastly? Bullet Seed? No. Rock Tomb? No. Thief? Oh wait. Gelth can learn this one. When did I even pick up this TM? In Mount Moon? You mean we could have used this all along and saved ourselves the trouble with these normal type trainers? Not my brightest moment, but at least we've got it now. We teach Gelth Thief, replacing Lick, and we restore our power points before diving back into the rematch with our rival. Thief is already proving itself. Our first move against Pidgeotto nearly takes it to half health, and while it responds with a Gust, the damage is minor. Despite a sand attack lowering our accuracy, we land another Thief to finish off Pidgeotto. Abra goes down to a single Thief as well once we connect. When Squirrel appears, we switch to Nightshade. We miss at first, allowing Squirtle to lower our defense with Tail Whip, but once we connect, it drops to half health. Squirtle tries to stall with Withdraw, but we quickly knock it out. Finally, Thief makes quick work of REDyTay, giving us the win. I can't believe how well Thief is working out, and I'm kicking myself for not using it sooner. Thanks to Thief, we breeze through Nugget Bridge and the route to Bill's house. Then Golth reaches a level for Dream Eater, and I replace Thief with it. In hindsight, this might have been another mistake. If we just had grinded earlier for Dream Eater, we could have saved that TM. But I do think Dream Eater will be powerful enough to justify the switch, even if it depends on Hypnosis landing. The healing effect pairs perfectly with our special attack, and it will help mitigate Golth's low defense and HP, making it viable in battles that would otherwise whittle us down. Unfortunately, this setup doesn't magically make Misty any easier. Our biggest issue is still Hypnosis's low accuracy. The first few tries, it refuses to land, and Starmie's Water Pulse just overwhelms us. On our third attempt, we managed to take down Staryu with Nightshade, even as we suffer confusion. Thankfully, we snap out of it just in time to finish it off. With a deep breath, we face Starmie. Finally, Hypnosis connects on the first try, allowing us to launch Nightshade. This time, our level is high enough to reduce Starmie to half health in one go, and the next Nightshade seals the win. It's late, but reflecting on our time as Cerulean, I can't help but feel I could have managed things better. Here's hoping for sharper decision making as we tackle future challenges. Things are going well at the SSN, which means we have another rival battle. Pidgeotto dodges our first Hypnosis, then lowers our accuracy even further with a Sand Attack. Thankfully, the next Hypnosis lands, and we quickly follow up with a Dream Eater, taking Pidgeotto down in one hit. Next up is Kadabra. Although Nightshade is a ghost move, it doesn't deal double damage here, so it isn't a one-shot. However, Kadabra's Disable misses, allowing us to finish it with another Nightshade. Nightshade also deals a lot of damage to Wartortle, especially since it wastes a turn using Withdrawal. After 2 turns, it goes down. Finally, Raticate is up, and we immediately land Hypnosis, followed by a Dream Eater to knock it out. That was actually a pretty easy fight. I'm not sure what to expect with Lieutenant Surge, but let's jump in and see how it goes. The Trash Can puzzle took a while, but we're able to battle the trainers here, which gives us extra experience. Our special defense isn't the best, so I doubt we'll be able to handle many electric attacks. Every extra level should help. Battling Lieutenant Surge isn't going smoothly, mostly due to some bad luck with paralysis and accuracy issues. The good news is, we can handle most of his team, but we keep going down to Raichu. A positive takeaway though, is that we reached a level where we can learn Shadow Ball, and I replaced Nightshade with it. Nightshade was useful, but as our opponent's levels increase, it'll become inefficient to rely on level-based damage. Anyway, it takes several attempts before we finally secure a win. We take down Voltorb easily with Nightshade. Pikachu is next, and I try to avoid paralysis by opening with Hypnosis, but it misses. Pikachu uses Double Team, making Hypnosis even less reliable. But, thankfully, the next Hypnosis actually lands. Unfortunately, Lieutenant Surge immediately uses a full heal to wake Pikachu up, nullifying our Dream Eater attempt. We try Hypnosis again, and after a few more misses, it finally lands, allowing us to KO Pikachu with Dream Eater. Then it's time for Raichu. Our new Shadow Ball almost takes it out in one hit, but we get paralyzed by Thunder Wave on the next turn. To make matters worse, Lieutenant Surge uses a Super Potion, healing Raichu up. Thankfully, the potion doesn't fully restore Raichu's HP, and another Shadow Ball brings it down. We take some damage from Shockwave, but it's not enough to stop us from finishing Raichu off with another Shadow Ball. This battle took longer than expected thanks to some rough luck, but at least we made it through. Now we're on to Rock Tunnel. This part of the game is a bit tedious. None of the trainers are particularly challenging, and we're completely immune to any self-destructs from the hiker's Pokemon, which that's nice. However, our moveset is still a bit inefficient. Dream Eaters are only usable if we put the opponent to sleep with Hypnosis, and Curse is pretty much useless here. We quickly run out of power points for our essential moves, so we end up using an escape rope halfway through to heal, then return to finish the trek. I did get a bit turned around trying to find our way back, but eventually we reach Lavender Town with some extra levels and we are ready for another rival battle. We open this one with a Hypnosis and Dream Eater combo on Pidgeotto, taking it down easily. We were lucky that Hypnosis landed on the first turn. Execute goes down in one hit from Shadow Ball, as does Kadabra. Wartortle isn't in one shot, but it wastes a turn using Withdrawal, letting us knock it out on the next turn. Growlithe is up next, and Shadow Ball does about as much damage to it as it did to Wartortle. We finally take some damage in this battle from an Ember, but another Shadow Ball finishes the job. Overall, that battle went very smoothly, and I think our next gym battle should go the same way, thanks to Erica's team being filled with poison types. This battle went smoothly for the most part. Victory Bell faints easily from Hypnosis and Dream Eater. Tangela isn't part poison, just pure grass, so I switch gears and go for Shadow Ball, which lands as a critical hit. Perfect. Vileplume, however, gives us some trouble, mainly because Hypnosis isn't sticking. We have some unbelievably bad luck with 3 consecutive turns of Hypnosis missing, but we also have insanely good luck with Vileplume's Stun Spore missing during those same turns. I didn't bother doing the math, but what are the odds of 6 misses in a row like that? Eventually the tide turns and we get Vileplume to fall asleep, only for Erica to use a full heal, which wakes it up and makes our Dream Eater attempt fall flat. To make things worse, I accidentally use Dream Eater again while Vileplume is still awake. Luckily though, Stun Spore misses again, and finally Hypnosis lands, and this time Dream Eater connects too, taking Vileplume down in one shot and ending the battle. Now that we're in Celadon, we need to take care of Team Rocket in the game corner to progress the story, so let's get to it. We skip most of the grunts here and make our way through the maze easily, reaching Giovanni before we know it. Shadow Ball takes Onix down to half health, but after Harden raises its defense, we put it to sleep and finish it off with Dream Eater. Kangaskhan is next, so we rely on Hypnosis and Dream Eater again. Hypnosis misses, but Kangaskhan just uses Tail Whip, so no harm done. Another Hypnosis lands, putting it to sleep, but it wakes up immediately and uses Tail Whip again. We try a third time, and this time Kangaskhan stays asleep long enough for Dream Eater to deal damage. Of course, it wakes up right after and lands a bite. It's super effective, but it doesn't do too much damage. Finally, we put Kangaskhan to sleep for good and finish it off with Dream Eater. Rhyhorn is last, and 2 Shadow Balls are enough to knock it out. Now that we have the Silph Scope, we can keep up the momentum and rescue Mr. Fuji. Fighting ghosts with a ghost type is a breeze when you're faster and have a true ghost move like Shadow Ball. We one-shot everything, safely return Mr. Fuji to his home. With that being done, we can wake up Snorlax, catch it, and take the bike path down to Fuchsia. Koga should be another easy gym leader for us to beat. We resist poison moves, can't be poisoned thanks to our typing, and we're immune to his last ditch tactic, Weezing's Self-Destruct. As long as our accuracy holds up, we should win this one without much trouble. We put Koga's first Coughing to sleep right out of the gate. So far, so good. A critical hit with Dream Eater probably wasn't needed for the knockout, but I'll take it. Muck is up next, and Hypnosis lands on the first try again. Dream Eater isn't a one-shot though, and Muck wakes up to use Acid Armor. I try to knock it out with a Shadow Ball, but Koga heals Muck to full health with a Hyper Potion. A critical hit from the next Shadow Ball deals significant damage, but then another Hyper Potion erases all that progress. The next Shadow Ball does far less damage, but we get a special defense drop. We manage to put Muck back to sleep, and we finish it off with Dream Eater. Second Coughing comes out, and our last Shadow Ball takes it to half health. We've been using this move a lot against the trainers in this gym. Coughing Sludge doesn't do much, and it soon falls asleep from another Hypnosis. Or Hypnosises? Anyway, it's asleep. I try to knock it out, but Koga uses a full heal. Despite Coughing Smokescreen, we get lucky with another Hypnosis and Dream Eater combo, knocking it out. Now it's just Weezing left. I decide to open with Curse, which is a bit risky since it cuts our health in half. We then get hit by Weezing Sludge, dropping us to 16 health. Things look rough, so we really need the next Hypnosis to land, and thankfully it does. Dream Eater misses on the next turn, which is the first time that's happened this whole challenge. The silver lining is that Curse has already cut Weezing's health down to 3/4, and with the next Dream Eater hitting, there's no way Weezing can survive. Using Curse was a gamble, but overall this battle went as planned. Now, we're at a bit of a crossroads. The storyline guides us to Saffron to take on Team Rocket and Silphco and then face Sabrina, but I'm considering heading to Cinnabar Island to challenge Blaine instead since we're so close. Then again, Sabrina should be relatively easy with Shadow Ball, however our rival is usually much tougher around this point, so that's a concern. What it comes down to is whether I'd rather go through Silphco or the Pokemon Mansion. So if you haven't guessed from the footage, we're going to Saffron. You'd think after all these challenges I'd have Silphco memorized, but as you can see, that's not quite the case. We reach our rival soon enough, and things start off a bit rocky. For starters, we waste several turns trying to get Hypnosis to land while Pidgeot repeatedly hits us with Wing Attack, racking up damage. Eventually, Hypnosis does connect, and from there it's easy to take Pidgeot out with Dream Eater, which gives us a bit of healing too. Execute and Alakazam go down quickly with a one-shot Shadow Ball each. Now Blastoise is out, and I decide to try Shadow Ball. Yikes, that barely does anything, and its bite is doing way more to us in return. We don't survive that encounter. Okay, clearly we need to put Blastoise to sleep at the first opportunity. There's one problem. We never even get to face Blastoise in the next few attempts. It turns out we got really lucky in that first battle where Execute went down in one shot, because now it's consistently hanging on with a sliver of health. Hits us with a Stun Spore, and then we get knocked out by Confusion or another attack from a rival's team. Are we really that close to consistently one-shotting Execute? I guess I'll need to grind Gelth up one more level to make the difference. Alright, we'll be right back. Time to battle some other Silph Code trainers and return to this fight at level 50. I think we can win this battle now, thanks to the level up. Big picture though, Gelth's stat distribution is ridiculous. Special attack and speed are great, but for everything else, it's just awful. I don't know if it's been noticeable in the footage so far, but attack, defense, and special defense don't even increase with some of these level ups. These weak stats combined with our lackluster health make Gelth a real glass cannon. To make it tougher, we only have one move that uses our special attack stat, and it's limited by needing to set up Hypnosis for it to work, which has low accuracy. That's partly my fault for keeping some of these moves, but the stats are just out of my control. Back at it with the rival though, Pidgeot goes down quickly after falling asleep on the first try, and a critical Dream Eater finishes it off. That's a great start. Now the moment of truth with Execute, and perfect, Shadow Ball is a one-shot again. Same goes for Alakazam. Now we're back to the main challenge, Blastoise. It uses Protect to stop our first Hypnosis, but the second one lands. Dream Eater hits harder than Shadow Ball, though it's not enough to wipe out Blastoise in one go. Luckily, Blastoise stays asleep long enough for us to knock it out with a final Shadow Ball. All that's left now is Growlithe. Its Intimidate isn't ideal since Ghost-type moves count as physical, but 2 Shadow Balls are still enough to bring it down. This thing might become a problem when it evolves to Arcanine, but for now, we're moving on to face Giovanni. We did lose some health against Team Rocket Grunts before this battle, so with Nidorino out first, it's all about putting it to sleep and healing up with Dream Eater. Being a poison type, Nidorino goes down easily in a one-shot. Thankfully, we fully healed before this encounter because Rhyhorn hits back hard with a 5-hit Rock Blast, leaving us in a precarious situation. Fortunately, our Hypnosis lands, allowing us to take Rhyhorn out with Dream Eater and gain some much needed health back. Nidoqueen should be straightforward with our current strategy, but we need Hypnosis to land. It takes a couple of turns, but instead of attacking, Nidoqueen just uses Tail Whip. On the third attempt, we finally put her to sleep, but she withstands Dream Eater. No worries, Shadow Ball finishes off that exchange. Now, it's just Kangaskhan left. We start off with another Hypnosis, that misses, but we manage to land it on the next turn. Dream Eater brings Kangaskhan down to half health, but of course she wakes up immediately. I accidentally selected Dream Eater again despite her being awake. What is with the Tail Whip spam? Must not have an attacking move available. After getting Kangaskhan back to sleep, she wakes up again, and I mistakenly choose Dream Eater once more. Kangaskhan wastes her turns using Rage and Fake Out, allowing us to put her to sleep again. Finally, we land a successful Dream Eater, knocking out Kangaskhan and securing the win. Now, if you'll excuse me, it's time to demolish the Psychic Gym. I know I shouldn't get too cocky, because even though we're Ghost types, we are still part Poison, and a strong Psychic move can deal considerable damage to us. Still, I'm not too worried since we're faster than all of Sabrina's team. We one-shot all of her Psychic Pokemon with Shadow Ball. The only annoyance was when Sabrina used a full heal to wake up Venomoth, but we put it to sleep again, and on the next turn, we easily wrapped up the battle from there. Next up is facing Blaine. Wow, actually this battle is going horribly, and it all comes down to one thing, our terrible special defense. Blaine's Pokemon rely heavily on Fire Blast, which is dangerous for Gelth, even though we aren't weak to fire moves. It's clear that our special defense is so low that one Fire Blast from Arcanine results in an instant one-shot. Shadow Ball isn't doing much damage either, making it clear that we need to put all of his team to sleep if we want to win this battle. Of course, that's easier said than done, considering Hypnosis' low accuracy, and yes, I know I sound like a broken record at this point saying that. After several attempts, we finally get Arcanine to sleep and start spamming Dream Eater. However, we encounter another problem. We can't take Arcanine out quickly enough. Dream Eater brings Arcanine into low health, but Blaine always heals it up, and soon enough, Arcanine wakes up and one-shots us with Fire Blast. Recognizing this issue, I decided to switch gears and use Curse once we put Arcanine to sleep, and then heal as much as possible with Dream Eater. This strategy helps, but it doesn't consistently solve the problem. While we have instances of getting past Arcanine, we often fall to it or Rapidash, and the losses are stacking up and becoming really frustrating. But I am stubborn, and this is one of those periods of the gameplay where I refuse to admit that I need to grind. Statistically, we should be able to secure a win at this level. Eventually, we manage to get through this battle. Hypnosis misses, which is nothing new, and we get hit by a Fire Blast, which is an unfortunate start. Luckily, the next Hypnosis lands, and Dream Eater one-shots Growlithe, getting us back into the green. Arcanine is up next, and our Hypnosis luck continues. We set up a Curse on the next turn, hoping for good fortune with Arcanine staying asleep so we can heal further. Luck is still on our side as Arcanine never wakes up, and with the Dream Eater Curse combo, we quickly knock it out. Ponyta dodges our Hypnosis and brings us back down to yellow health with a Fire Blast. The next Hypnosis does land, but we avoid using Dream Eater since previous attempts have shown that Blaine often uses a full heal right after we put Ponyta to sleep. Instead, we smartly deal some damage with Shadow Ball. Another Hypnosis lands shortly after, which leads to a critical hit Dream Eater that one-shots Ponyta. Rapidash is last, and its Fire Blast gives me a heart attack, bringing us down to just 3 health. Hypnosis needs to land right here, and thank goodness it does. Rapidash falls asleep, and Dream Eater brings us up to 33 health. A final Dream Eater knocks out Rapidash, and we finally secure the win. That battle was way tougher than I anticipated. Our horrible stats are really starting to show at this point of the game, and I'm feeling really nervous about the Elite Four. However, I think Giovanni will still be easy, especially since our abilities make us immune to ground moves. You can tell I'm feeling confident here, considering Gallus is starting the battle at 19 health after facing other trainers in the gym. Anyway, Hypnosis lands and Dream Eater easily knocks Rhyhorn out, bringing us back to green health. Dugtrio almost goes down from a one-shot thanks to our Shadow Ball, but Giovanni uses a Hyper Potion. We stick with Shadow Ball and things are looking good as Dugtrio falls shortly after. Nidoqueen is easy to deal with, going down to 1 Dream Eater. Nidoking, however, has a better special defense. Giovanni wakes Nidoking up right after we put it to sleep, wasting our Dream Eater, so we switch back to using Shadow Ball. After several Shadow Balls, we get Nidoking to low health, but Giovanni uses another Hyper Potion. No worries though, as Nidoking only attacks us with a weak Poison Sting. Shadow Ball after Shadow Ball eventually brings Nidoking down. Last out is the second Rhyhorn. We hit it with Hypnosis and then one-shot it for an easy victory in our final gym badge. We may have wrapped that battle up easily, but I suspect our rival will be a problem as we bump into him before Victory Road. I'll cut to the chase. We lost the first attempt. We were fine until we reached Blastoise. We put to sleep and used Curse like we tried before. Dream Eater heals us up significantly, but not enough to survive a super effective bite. In the second attempt, Pidgeot and Alakazam give us little trouble. Pidgeot does deal some damage, but it's nothing scary, so we're back to dealing with Blastoise. Hypnosis misses, but Blastoise starts this part of the battle with Rain Dance. The next Hypnosis lands, and we take a chance with Curse, healing up with Dream Eater afterwards. This time it works out well since Blastoise never wakes up. Growlithe is next, and we continue with the Hypnosis Dream Eater combo. We're at full health now, and Growlithe goes down. Rhyhorn replaces Growlithe, but Rock Blast isn't as scary as it used to be, especially due to our healing combo we just used. Last out is Execute. Growlithe may have lowered our attack due to Intimidate, but Shadow Ball still hits hard enough to take Execute down to half health. I'm not thrilled about getting paralyzed from Stun Spore, but since Execute is just setting up a Solar Beam, we can stick with Shadow Ball to take it out. Despite our low special defense, that move hardly does anything to us because of our typing. We can now get through Victory Road, though we do lose a couple of battles along the way. However, we are still focusing on battling everyone we encounter as we need all the help we can get. I'll cut to the chase and admit that we are not prepared for the Elite Four at this point. For starters, our stats are lacking in several areas. I won't entertain the idea of facing the Elite Four at level 60, instead we're going to grind to at least level 70 before battling. Another aspect we need to address is our moveset, which is currently not well rounded or efficient. The main flaw is Curse. We hardly ever use it, and when you think about it, it doesn't really support our stats. Curse takes a minimum of 4 turns to knock out an opponent, and since we are very frail, we can't survive many hits. Therefore, it's more advantageous to replace Curse with a move that hits hard, preferably a special move given our stats. After some consideration, I had to sell it on and spend a significant amount of money at the game corner to obtain the TM for Thunderbolt. This strong special attack has great accuracy and covers many Pokemon that haven't given us issues in the past. After that, I grind on the upper bike path, and after all that effort, we reached level 70. Before heading into battling the Elite Four, here's how we are looking. Our special attack and speed are impressive, all things considered, while everything else has improved by about 15 points from all the grinding. Those numbers, though, are still a little lackluster. I'm pleased with the 140 health. It's not great for a level, but it will do. I like our new moveset, especially since it performed well while we were grinding. Lorelei is likely going to be a problem, but Thunderbolt and our special attack stat could give us a chance. Our first attempt against Lorelei started off well enough, as we dealt with Dugong and Slowbro. However, things fell apart as soon as Lapras came out, due to me forgetting that Safeguard was active, causing Hypnosis to miss. As a result, we can't withstand many surfs and win this battle. We experienced this unfortunate ending in multiple attempts, but we finally had a run where things went our way. Dugong took a hit from a Shadow Ball, while Thunderbolt would have hit harder. We wanted to knock Dugong out without Lorelei healing her. We took an Ice Beam and then knocked Dugong out with Thunderbolt. We continued using that move against Slowbro as it was an easy one-shot. Next, Lapras appeared and quickly fell asleep from Hypnosis. Dream Eater helped us heal, dealing just enough damage to avoid triggering Lorelei's healing. A berry also helped, and before we knew it, Lapras went down from another Thunderbolt. Cloyster also got one shot by that move, just like Slowbro. All that was left was Jinx, but this time Shadow Ball secured an easy one-shot. It shouldn't be much of a surprise that Bruno is easy to beat in this challenge. We really only have one solid option for taking down his entire team: Hypnosis and Dream Eater. While we know this isn't the most efficient strategy, they don't do much damage to us when they fail, so we eventually managed to put his whole team to sleep and heal significantly with Dream Eater. The speed drop from Rock Tomb is not ideal, but it's not the end of the world. There's not much to report about this battle. We kind of already knew it was going to be easy. Technically, the next battle with Agatha should be just as straightforward. However, we actually lose the first attempt here, primarily because we didn't take her second Gengar seriously, and we paid the price for it. Hypnosis missed, and we were one shot by Shadow Ball. Let's give this another try. Agatha's first Gengar starts the battle, and we take it down easily with a couple of Thunderbolts. Golbat also goes down from one Thunderbolt. Haunter, being weaker than Gengar, is taken out with a single Shadow Ball. Arbok can be a little tedious to defeat since we rely on Hypnosis, but we managed to put it to sleep and score a one-shot with Dream Eater. Now we just need to focus on the second Gengar. We play it safe by putting it to sleep, and it can't withstand a single Dream Eater, so we easily win the battle from there. It's nice to have 2 easy Elite Four battles in the segment because we all know Lance won't be as simple. Gyarados and Aerodactyl are actually easy to deal with since they're both weak to electric moves. Thunderbolt can one-shot both of them. However, we start running into problems with Dragonite. In our first attempt, we instantly paralyzed it with Thunderbolt, which did help somewhat, but ultimately a critical hit Outrage took us out of the battle. From here, we gave this battle many attempts, yet we still couldn't find a way to beat Dragonite consistently. The Hypnosis and Dream Eater combo can work wonders, but there are instances where if we miss Hypnosis, Dragonite can use Safeguard, which really hurts us. For several turns, we can't put Lance's team to sleep or paralyze them, leaving us vulnerable to incoming attacks. I mentioned that we struggle to defeat Dragonite consistently, and that's because there are some attempts where we do knock Dragonite out, but the other 2 Dragonair left on Lance's team are impossible for us to beat. Safeguard can also be used here to stall, just like Dragonite used it, and we often get paralyzed by Thunder Wave at this point in the battle. This makes it difficult for us to execute any effective strategy once that happens. We have 5 rare candies collected during this playthrough, but even with those, it's a bust. We are suffering many losses, so I have to admit that grinding is something we must do. We aim for level 80, and by the time we reach Lance, we are at level 81. Even with being 10 levels higher than when we started fighting him, we still can't seem to pull off the win. However, things look hopeful this time around. We just need a few things to go our way. Unfortunately, they don't, so we level Gelth up to level 85. Gyarados and Aerodactyl both go down the same way, so we won't dwell on that. They are easy one-shots. Dragonite is next, as always, and we manage to get Hypnosis to work right out of the gate. Thunderbolt spamming begins shortly after, allowing us to deal decent damage without putting Dragonite in a position for Lance to heal it. Once we reach that threshold, I use a Shadow Ball to carefully chip away at Dragonite's health, which lands as a critical hit. Wasn't expecting that, but things are looking good. We're at full health, and no safeguard is up. Even better, we put the first Dragonair to sleep and score another critical hit with Dream Eater, knocking it out in one go. The second Dragonair also falls asleep as soon as it comes out, and a non-critical Dream Eater lands hard enough to take it down in a single attack. Okay, I knew Lance could be an issue, but I wasn't expecting him to be this much of a pain. I like to think that all these levels would make the rival battle really easy. Unfortunately, I hate to say it, but we are still losing at this level. Pidgeot and Alakazam aren't threats at all. Thunderbolt and Shadow Ball one-shot each of them respectively. Arcanine can be problematic depending on its moves, but for the most part we can take it down as well. However, Blastoise is still a significant challenge. I did a good job picking him as our rival starter, that's for sure. Sure, we weren't at full health on the first attempt, so it makes sense that with our special defense and lowered health, we can't survive a Hydro Pump. Even at full health, this move can wreck us. Ironically, when we hit it with a Thunderbolt, it deals substantial damage, yet Blastoise is always left with one of the tiniest slivers of health I've ever seen. I do manage one attempt where we put Blastoise to sleep as soon as it comes out. We use Dream Eater soon after to deal extra damage, ensuring our Thunderbolt will deliver the final blow. Plus, we really need the healing given Gelf's current health. This works out perfectly and Blastoise faints. Executor is next, and while Shadow Ball does good damage, we can't rely solely on it here. So we put it to sleep on next turn, use Dream Eater, and we think we're going to easily knock it out with a Shadow Ball, but instead its health is just low enough for our rival to use a full restore. Shadow Ball brings it back down to where we started, and Hypnosis lands on the next turn, so we're still doing okay. We repeat the process by using Dream Eater again, but this just prompts our rival to use another full restore. For the third time, we repeat all these steps, and this time we come really close to knocking Executor out with Dream Eater, but nope, it heals on with a sliver of health, and as you might have guessed, our rival uses another full restore. I'm getting frustrated, especially since our Hypnosis misses on the next turn as we try to use it. We already have Executor down to around half health, so I have Gelf hit it with another attack. It's still hanging on after that hit. Executor's first Sleep Powder miss, but this next one lands. We fall asleep and Executor is brought back to full health again from full restore number 4. While we're asleep, it sets up a light screen, which is annoying, but remember Shadow Ball is a physical move. When Executor finally goes on the offensive, it uses Giga Drain, which doesn't do a whole lot to us. We eventually wake up and hit it with another Shadow Ball, but then our luck runs out. Our Hypnosis misses, and Executor Sleep Powder lands. From this point on, we never wake up due to terrible sleep luck, and Giga Drain gradually takes us out while healing Executor. This is getting really frustrating. Okay, we're going to need to grind if we want to beat this challenge. Revisiting our rival at level 88. Pidgeot and Alakazam are still easy one-shots, so we breeze through them. Next up is Arcanine, but it easily goes down when we put it to sleep and spam Thunderbolt. It shouldn't come as a surprise that these extra levels mean our special attack is finally high enough to take out Blastoise with a Thunderbolt. Now, onto Executor. Shadow Ball does about the same amount of damage, but of course we fall asleep from its Sleep Powder soon after. This means here come the Giga Drains. This time though, we only get hit by one while we are asleep. We wake up soon after that, and we hit it with another Shadow Ball, bringing Executor down to red health. Normally this would trigger our rival to use a full restore, but the game's AI gives us a break here. Due to the way the turns stack, Executor didn't anticipate it was going to be hit this turn, so it sticks with Giga Drain. That move heals it back into the yellow, which is high enough that it doesn't prompt our rival to use a healing item. This gives us a clear shot to finish this annoying Pokemon off with one more Shadow Ball. All that's left for our rival is Rhydon, but we're in a bit of a dangerous situation considering our health. Luckily for us, Hypnosis lands as soon as Rhydon comes out, and of course, we're going to use Dream Eater as much as we can. 2 Dream Eaters brings Rhydon down to red health, and we anticipate our rival will use a full restore, so we switch to Shadow Ball, which hits the fully healed Rhydon. It doesn't do much damage, but it's enough for us to put Rhydon back to sleep and take it out with 2 more Dream Eaters. Finally, we have beaten this challenge, and we are back to being Pokemon champions. I knew this challenge would be tough as soon as I saw Gastly's stats. I don't think I've ever done a challenge where the Pokemon used was such a glass cannon before. Gastly's moveset can make the gameplay interesting, but if your strategy doesn't focus on hitting your opponent fast and hard with a ghost or special type attack, you're in trouble in many of these battles. I am curious how Haunter or Gengar would fare in some of these encounters. I hope you enjoyed this challenge. Stay tuned for my next one where I'll see if I can beat Pokemon Blue with a Dratini. It should be a fun experience considering that Dragon types are treated somewhat oddly in Generation 1, and we won't reach pseudo-legendary stats since we won't be evolving. I'm also in the process of playing through Pokemon Yellow to commemorate its 25th anniversary release in the United States. If you want, give that a look and maybe share what that game means to you in the comments. In the meantime, you can also check out some of my other challenges. Don't forget to like and subscribe for updates, and leave comments about what you enjoyed, what challenges you'd like to see in the future, and any suggestions you have for improving these videos. I always appreciate creative input. Thanks for watching everyone, and until next time, Geronimo, and happy Halloween.